As dawn broke over the north, the council waited in anxious silence for King Aisai, their spirits dimmed by the Red King's triumph. The king strode swiftly into the throne hall, his boots echoing against the stone, and began to pace over the great Sangarus map sprawled across the floor. Turning to his council, he spoke with measured gravity. "I understand your fears, my lords, yet our plan still moves forward." The king turns to Sir Uval and inquires about the preparations. Sir Uval bows slightly and replies, 30,000 soldiers and 60 catapults are ready, my king." Aisai nods in approval toward Sir Uval and says, "Well done. Proceed." Lord Gallius of Darkfort voiced his fear that the Red King might rise to power once more. But Aisai dismissed his concern, saying, "Your worry is misplaced." He declared to the council, "Each of you shall be part of a great and glorious victory." Sir Dalvek inquired about the king's plan. The king replied, "These walls may keep out many things, yet no stone can bar the escape of words." The king, his voice laced with fury, declared the meeting over and commanded the council to disperse. Yet, he ordered Sir Gallius to remain. With great delight, the king said to Sir Gallius, "I have found Holmer's horn." Sir Gallius, astonished, said, "My lord, where is it now? I pray it is safe." Aisai replied, "Fear not, my lord. My Mankurts are bringing it to me as we speak." At the far end of the back streets of Yun Market, before an old house of timber, a mysterious stranger bargained with an aged man. Though the old man seemed reluctant, he took without pause the purse heavy with coin that the stranger offered, and his eyes turned toward his daughters. Though their mother found some solace, knowing they would have a warm place where their bellies might be filled, yet her eyes were laden with sorrow. The two little daughters were yielded into the stranger's keeping, their father's words still upon them. "You shall be safe, and all shall be well." Yet sorrow clung to their hearts, and with helpless steps, the girls went forth with him. They passed through the market of Yun, and entered the forest path beside the city's walls. After they had gone on a little way, they came before a gate of thick timber, overgrown with briars, and bound fast with riveted iron. In haste, the stranger opened the gate and went within with the girls. Seizing a torch that waited upon the wall, he kindled it and pressed on. Through corridors of stone they passed, until before them rose a long stair of hewn rock, winding upward into the heights, and these they began to climb. At last they came to the door of a wide chamber, where Aisai awaited them, a goblet of wine in his hand and a face hard as marble. Turning his gaze upon the stranger, he spake with scorn, "Thou art late. Teach these rats the order of things, and let them be taken into my service without delay." King Vartan spake unto his steward, "See that the preparations be made for the feast of peace, held for the families of the rebel lords. Our guests shall be here within 2 days, and send word that my son Chedwick and young Eric be brought before me." When Eric and Chedwick came before him, the Red King's voice resounded, grave and steadfast. "You know well that I loved your father as a brother of my own blood, yet the shadow of mourning cannot cling to you forever. The time has come to cast it aside. You are grown to manhood, and the path of your training must be walked anew." Eric confessed that he had overheard the Red King's feast plans, and that it troubled his heart. But the Red King answered him, saying, "Dost thou doubt my faith to thy father, or to Arteris?" Eric replied, "No, my lord, yet." But before he could finish, the Red King's voice broke in, stern and unyielding. "Then let thy lips be sealed upon this matter, my son. Go now, and return to thy training." When Eric and Chedwick descended to the training grounds, they still spoke of the Red King's feast. Eric could not bring himself to accept the decision, but Chedwick counseled him, saying that he must trust in his father's judgment, for he himself had no knowledge of war. At this, Eric's anger flared, and he cried, "You have not seen what I have seen. I may not have fought, but I was there." In wrath, Eric drew his sword. And lo, at that hour, Baldir, the king's chief of the stables, and long-held friend of the Red King, beheld them with watchful eyes. Baldir muttered to himself, "These two reckless youths, they will wound one another." With a wrathful blow, Eric cast Chedwick upon the earth. Long he stood, his blade poised and gleaming above his fallen kin, and his eyes lingered upon him in stern silence. At last he turned away, and with heavy steps he came unto Baldir's side. And Baldir spoke unto Eric, saying, "At thy father's funeral I wept, for in him I lost a friend. Yet what is my sorrow beside thine own grief? Thy father is gone, and thou hast passed from boyhood into manhood. Therefore wield not thy sword in wrath, least of all against thy friends." And Eric answered, "Thou speakest true. Though the blades of our training be dulled, I might yet have brought him harm. But the king's decree kindled wrath within me, and it veiled mine eyes in darkness." And Baldir, smiling, said, "Son, in days to come thou shalt be a great captain. Of this I have no doubt. Therefore let not thy heart waver, nor question thy king." In the depths of the forest, Idunn warmed himself by the fire, when a sudden crack was heard. Cautiously, he rose to his feet and turned his gaze toward the place whence the sound had come.